Welcome. We're doing a Solo Jones podcast this week. My cohort is out doing business, and I didn't want to break the streak. We're business casual tonight in our little Spider-Man Christmas. It actually does have a bit of a theme. We'll get into it in a minute. I figured we just chit-chat, me and you, kind of just see what's going on. I'll kind of break down what I've been seeing, the world, life. So wonderful. I watched that SNL 50th anniversary. I didn't watch the whole thing because I'm old. A lot of old people on SNL too. But any case, bless their hearts, they're still doing the damn thing. But yeah, it was fun, it was cute, it was sentimental, and it was kind of like a weird mishmash of stuff that's slightly works and slightly doesn't work, and nostalgia, and I was like, they should stop. They should just stop. I know Sandler did a song with celebrating the 50 years, and I was like, this is such a good song, this is such a good way, and they didn't close the show on that. And I was like, you guys should stop the show right there. Because you want to kind of remember it that way. And they've kind of encapsulated good, they're doing good work now. They got some new people coming, I guess, for this season, but I'm like, I feel like it's one of those things where maybe it's time to kind of wrap it up, or at least try to do something new with it. Because it was fun, but it was kind of like, it's like a memorial or memorandum, whatever they do when somebody dies at the Oscars. And I was kind of like, this feels like, everybody's, remember when they were funny and they were young? It's like, man, a lot of old people. Anyway, I digress. Maybe it's because I'm feeling old. I'm not feeling old. That's not true. Maybe it's just because, I'm being a ball buster. Too many old people. Once you get to a certain age, I don't want to see you anymore. No, I'm half kidding. But, sometimes it's like see some of these people and you're just like, man, don't put them on the stage. They're shaking. They can't really kind of do the stuff. Sometimes you get Bill Murray who's just sliding through it at 80-something. But then, sometimes you see people and you're just like, let them just say remember when they were young and collect the checks from, whatever, DVD sales. But anyway, I digress. But that was fun to watch. That was a cool thing. Plus, it's like they're making stuff. And that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. I kind of got inspired. I had a friend of my brother's who, was always into hip hop and making music. And my brother would always freestyle with, I remember when I was home, he's like, yo, kick it. I was da-da-da-da-da. And he would just get into it. He's like, pop me a beat, yo, kick it. And he would do it. And he would freestyle, have stuff, and he would do references to Dragon Ball Z. Stuff I kind of didn't understand or whatever. But I like the idea that, he was, creative. And, even though he did, a lot of martial arts, he also was, he was into drawing, he was into poetry, he was the full-rounded warrior kind of whatever. And so, in any case, he had a friend who did hip hop music with him. He would make beats, but he would really kind of do it with production and stuff like that. And recently, this week, my brother's school, his martial arts school, honored him. He was, I don't really break it down too much, but he passed away a couple years ago. And it's amazing that this school still honored him, his martial arts school, giving him, they all made t-shirts. They're sending me a t-shirt. This was kind of supposed to be his t-shirt. So I'm honoring him here a little. But they made they really did the ceremony where they honored him as the warrior who passed too early. And it was just an amazingly beautiful thing. And I got a picture from them and I posted it online. And then one of, my Ryan's friends reached out to me. And he's like, hey, I made also this hip hop album that I just put on, and this song I just put on YouTube. You should check it out because I know you make stuff too. And I was like, this is so cool. You know what I mean? This guy's like a banker or something. But it's we're all something. Benjamin's off now doing something right now working, but he's also, as much a full-time comedian as anybody. And just doing that sort of extra work to make stuff is something that's so awesome and should so be recognized, and many, many blessings just to people who do that, and I have a cousin who also does bass and he does instrumentals, because now he can do it on the computer where he keyboards violins and stuff. and does like heavy metal with like orchestral, amazing stuff, and like does network administration. And so like the idea that you make stuff outside of work or outside of the grind or outside of whatever, and you're doing stuff creative, I think is something that should be, respected and heralded, because it's not always, like a big, where it's like you just work at the studio all day because, you're living off the whatever, the record company, or you know what I mean? You have some kind of deal where you're plush. A lot of times you're creating in, the whatever, the grimy grime of it, the double shifts, the working on a Saturday. And then you come home, it's like, oh, maybe I thought of this idea, I can write it down or whatever. Just the idea that people would do that. And because I put the stuff out there, they would go like, hey, yo, here's a song I made and a hip hop video I did. And I'm just like, this is wonderful, man. I love to see people making stuff. I love to see that drive, even though you still got to work that sort of 9 to 5, whatever. Make stuff. It's always good, you know what I mean, to just get those creative juices going in whatever you do. I think it gives balance, even if you're not going to do it for money or whatever. And I think you really can't do anything for money nowadays. People really clock out sincerity in a big way. Like, I think nowadays, when it comes to being sincere, that's like number one. You got to be you. You got to be just whatever you are, good or bad. You know what I mean? Because it's like people think one thing's the right way to be, and something completely opposite winds up, being the most popular thing. And so there is this sort of element where being yourself, being authentic, not, necessarily be full-rounded. And I think that's a great thing to be when you're creating stuff, like music, art. I was super happy that like they reached out and they were like, yo, I make stuff too. Here's stuff I make. I was like, all right, man, cool. I was like, here's a joke I did in YouTube. And it's just fun. It's just fun to be creative and to do stuff. And I just think the most important thing about that is that you got to block out your time, So I know like when I come home, it's like I've been doing a lot of goal-oriented stuff and like blocking out time and saying like, this is the amount of time I spend on this. I have these goals I want to reach. And I think respecting your time is important. It's funny, I'm thinking about it now, but it ties into an interesting thing that happened this week where respect your time, man. You got to respect your time. If you're going to be creative, you're going to do stuff, and you're going to try to excel in this world, you got to respect your time. I did a show this week, and in the show, there was this really great comedian who I won't mention, who's so awesome. I met him before, great guy. And he was kind of the headliner, definitely, at this show. And I get to the show, nobody showed up. It was like nobody. There was like 4, I think maybe 6 people there, a dog. And somebody was like doing their setup there, and people were kind of like, whatever. And this comedian walked in the back. He took a look around, and he just walked right out. And I didn't even like pretty much make eye contact or nothing. I don't know if he saw me or whatever. He looked, walked around. He didn't even walk around, just looked. I said, nah, I'm out of here, bro. He bounced. And I think it's like, yo, ain't gonna hate on you. And the promoter didn't hate on him either, which I thought was cool. Because it's like, this show kind of died on the vine. It was like a Tuesday. It's tough. It was kind of a rainy Tuesday. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, this guy's been, he's been in, pretty much, the big places. He goes, 1,000 people minimum, and yeah, he was like, fuck this, I'm out of here. And I was like, there you go. Respect your time, man. You're worth more than this. Everybody will understand. And we did understand. And I think that's, sometimes you get caught like, oh, I feel bad, because I said I'd do this thing and whatever. It's like, respect your time, man. If the thing ain't worth it, sometimes you just got to do the thing that's worth it. That's why this is important. It's on my list. I was like, I want to keep the podcast going, keep the good energy going. Just, keep it just content and saying hi, getting excited about the things I'm showing soon. Blessings on blessings. and, allocate that time properly. But if it's like, yeah, that party's going to be lame, just don't go. Save that time. Work on your goals. Make stuff. Anyway, we'll call it there. Many, many blessings to you. This has been the Gettin Up podcast. My name is Jason Delgado. Benjamin Madrid is normally here. He'll be here next time. We may have guests soon. Excited. Many blessings. See you on the next one.